I have a nice piece of oak right here. I've just cut it in half on my bandsaw. And this side, the bark's not very good. A lot of it's already peeled off. So I'm just gonna make a regular bowl out of this, not a natural edge. So this will be my top of the bowl here. Before I do that, I'm gonna take it to the bandsaw and cut it mostly round, and then I'll get it ready and have it in the lathe shortly. So I just took this over to the bandsaw. Decided this will be the bottom of the bowl anyway, so I'll have to have a flat spot. So I just took it over to my bandsaw and stood it on the end like this, and I was able to trim off this side here, make a nice flat. Now it's parallel. Everything should be lined up really good. My bandsaw is a rake 10326, I think is the model number. It's 14 inch. It'll cut almost 13 inch depth, which is pretty close to this limit, but I could have went even a little bit more. Does a terrific job. If anyone's looking at that saw, I'm very happy with the one I have. Okay, it's mounted in my chuck on a woodworm screw and fairly well balanced at about 500 RPMs. And I'm going to rough it out now. Yeah, I think that's going to have some real nice color in it. I think I'm going to get rid of all of this. It's pretty soft. I'm going to swap out that 5/8 bowl gouge to this 1/2 inch that I have a 40/40 grind on. Do some final shaping. Might see how this sands up right in this area here. I might try to leave some of that. Got a couple nice little knots up here. They should hold together quite well. I think I'll work on getting my tenon down, and then I still have a chance to do some more shaping. I think that's a good size for the base for this bowl. I think I want a little flatter radius across here. So I'll start up about like that, and try to blend that in. Okay, so I get to try my new sanding pads for the first time and see if the shafts that I made do the job. Well, I have to say that these pads work so much better than the ones that I had picked up locally. They're probably almost 3 times as thick, and they're much softer. It conforms way better than what I had been using. Very happy with doing this. And this little area that was been left on from under the bark seems to sand out nice. I think I'll just go ahead and leave it on there. So I'm going to go back to sanding, and it does make a lot of dust, so I'll have to silence this later and get that dust collector noise out of there. It does a very, very nice job. I'll go ahead and finish sanding this through all the grits that I have. And I'm planning on using Danish oil on it. I like Danish oil on walnut. I've made a number of pieces of furniture where I used Danish oil or sometimes tung oil. So we'll get this sanded up and turned around. I'll get my little hose out of the way. So I got this sanded up to 500 grit, and I think it's plenty smooth. Right now I don't have any of the little stick-on discs past 220, so I do like to use the sheet sandpaper, and I cut them into smaller pieces, and just to help me keep track of them, I put them in these little potato chip containers, and I mark it on the lid and over here. It's kind of it's a nice little container for small pieces of sandpaper, and it also has another good use. I get to eat the potato chips that came out of it. So I'm going to grab my Danish oil and put some finish on this side. I also reuse little pill containers, and this, I have my Danish oil in here, and I have other finishes in other containers. I don't like to open the original container back and forth and let air in it, so this works quite well. Yeah, that's really nice oak. I usually put a board underneath when I'm applying finishes. I don't like the finish dropping on the bed of the lathe. Trying to be extra careful, but that doesn't always work. Yeah, I think that's the perfect finish for this piece of wood. It'll soak up quite a bit. And I wanted to get this on right now just because it's a ways from drying, and I think just having this on here will help just to maybe keep it from cracking. Although I haven't had the same cracking problem with oak as I have other woods. Yeah, that's nice. Nothing spectacular, but still there's some interest in that grain. Alright, I'm going to wipe a couple more coats on and get it turned around. Alright, early in the morning, pretty chilly out here. Pretty soon I'm going to have to get my little electric heaters down just to keep sort of warm. So now I'm going to hollow out the inside of this oak bowl. pretty nice. I think I can pull the tailstock back now. It's got a good hold on it with the chuck. It's not that big of a bowl. There it is. I'd like to get an idea where I'm at on the depth. I don't like surprises. I probably have another inch to go. I like my round carbide cutter just to get the depth close. Okay, that's good for now. Back to my 1/2 inch bowl gouge. And I think it's time to resharpen it. Alright, see if this is any better. Not too bad. I really like how this piece of oak turns. I'm not going to make a real thin bowl because oak is such a sturdy looking wood, and it's known as a very strong wood, and I think an oak bowl should not be real thin. At least that's my opinion. Yeah, I think I like that. I'm going to go in here and try to refine this shape a little bit. Yeah, feels good. Trade tools out. This one here works on the bottom pretty good. Let's have a look at that. Okay, now it's time to try my new scraper. This is a 1.5 inch wide scraper that I recently purchased. I decided to go ahead and grind it as a negative rake scraper. So let's give it a try. I think it's doing what it's supposed to. Nice little powdery shavings coming off. Pretty smooth. Move this around a little bit so I can get the whole thing. I think I need to drop it about a 1/16. Yeah, I think it was a good investment. And it's always fun to get a new toy. A little bit of blending right here and I can sand it. And I moved my little dust hood back on this side so that I can help try to contain the sawdust that comes off of this. This will be the first time I've used these new pads on the inside of a bowl. That's where I'm really looking forward to an improvement over my old ones. Dust collector on. Alright, I've got this oak bowl all sanded up on the inside up to 500 grit. Now I'm going to put some Danish oil on it, see how it looks. There's not necessarily anything in there that's spectacular, but it just has that nice warm look that you get out of oak. There's a nice pretty little knot up here. There's a little white spot right there. It just stands out. I think it'll be a nice little bowl. I'll get the rest of this finish on here and then cut the tenon off the back, and I'll come back and show you the bowl.